In this lesson, we're going to look at sketching the graph of a quadratic in completed square form. Now, last time you did this, you had to factorise and then find the minimum turning point by finding the midway point. A wee bit longer than this version. So, in this version, what we're going to do is we're going to, step 1, find the turning point, which is quite easy and quite quick. We're going to then draw an axis of symmetry and find the y-intercept. So this is a much quicker version. So firstly, just doing what we did before, to get the turning point, make this bit 0, so that'll be 3 and 2. So the turning point is at 3, 2. Now we know it's a minimum turning point because if you multiplied all this out, you would get x squared minus 3x plus 9 plus 2. But crucially, it'd be a plus x squared. It's only a minimum only a maximum turning point when you have a negative x squared if you times all that out. We'll look at that in the next lesson. The symmetry line is actually at the turning point. I'll flick back a second, and if we look at this here, the axis of symmetry, if we look at the title bar here, it's just a line straight up and down the way. It'd be like this, right in the middle. So what actually happens where, I'll try and get that a better colour, where the minimum turning point is at. Maybe that would be better. So it's really the x value of the turning point, because a line straight up and down the way has an equation x equals whatever the turning point is. So let's go back to that when we're drawing. So if you look at the value of where the turning point is, the x value, you can see it's at 3 here. So the axis of symmetry is actually x equals 3. Now you must write x equals 3. If you just write axis of symmetry at 3, you don't get a mark if you've been tested on this because it's not the correct format. You need to write it as an equation. An equation of a vertical line straight up and down is always x equals whatever the x value where that line is at. Okay, lastly, the y-intercept. We're trying to find out where the graph cuts the y-axis. So we've done this before, cuts that y-axis when x equals 0. So you sub in, this happens when x equals 0, so you basically sub in x equals 0 into your original formula. Just the quadratic formula up here, we're just going to fire 0 in there. Now we're going to do the bracket part first, so 0 take away 3, that's negative 3. Need to square it and add on 2, so that would be positive 9, be careful there, plus 2, which would give you 11. So the turning point, the intercept is at 0, 11. So if I was to sketch that, it would look like this. I need to mark in the 0, 11 where it cuts the y-intercept. I need to mark in roughly where 3, 2 is. Notice I've not got any numbers here. You don't need it as long as you mark in exactly the numbers you've calculated. And look, I've got my axis of symmetry line straight up and down, right in the middle at x equals 3. Again, this number here will always be the same as that one there, because the turning point's at 3, 2, symmetry line's at x equals 3. If the turning point was at 4, 5, the symmetry line would be x equals 4, and so on.